What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Absolutely April, here for another recap on one of my favorite TV shows. Y'all should know by now, I am a Grey's Anatomy super fan. I love Grey's Anatomy. So I'm here to do a little recap for y'all for episode number 5. We are on season 19. And I mean, it was okay. It was definitely a okay. I think it was a more thought provoking episode. This episode. So yeah, let's get into it. First, I want to do my pleasantries. Welcome to my channel. I'm April, and I do recaps on reality shows, TV shows, movies. I might throw in some spirituality tips. You just never know what you might get from me. I might even do a little card reading for you. So you just never know. So you might as well go ahead and join this community and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit the like button, get me in that algorithm, and also you might as well hit the notification bell too, so you'll be notified about all of my uploads. And sharing is caring, share with a friend. And for you all returning, I appreciate your support. I thank you for liking, for commenting, for subscribing. I so appreciate it. And my new subscribers, welcome. And let's get it started. Let's talk about Grey's Anatomy. So, like I said, I'm a Grey's Anatomy super fan. I'm a Grey's Anatomy super fan. I love Grey's Anatomy. And it was one of these episodes, Grey's will get into they talk about things that, are going on in our real life. So that's how I believe they really stay relevant. They don't shy away from a lot of these discussions. And so one of the discussions was, the A word and, women's rights and women's health. So this is one of those episodes where they kind of, touch on this. So the episode starts out with Meredith is taking Zola to visit another school because Zola is a gifted student. She's uninspired at her current school, and she's been having panic attacks from worrying about Meredith and Maggie's health because of early onset Alzheimer's. So she's worried about that. It has triggered a lot of her anxiety. She's been having panic attacks. So they're looking for a school that can accommodate Zola, that can, help her with her giftedness, but also, somewhere where she could just really flourish. So Meredith is taking Zola to a school called Brookline STEAM Academy. So STEAM is probably going to be, they're going to do more of the robotics and, science, technology, and math and, geared towards something like that. That type of school is something that I would love my son to be a part of because he's really, really good at math. He's into like experiments and stuff like that and dinosaurs. So that's his wheelhouse. So I would love for my son to be in a school like that is doing more experiments and hands-on things. That he likes stuff like that. So meanwhile, Bailey and Dr. Bailey and Addison, Dr. Montgomery, they are traveling to help at a women's health clinic. This lady is Bailey's old roommate from college. So, they're coming to help out at her clinic. So at her clinic is a women's health clinic. So all type of things happen at this clinic. So a lot of the pro-life protesters, are at the clinics protesting those women who are going to get A words. And you know what the A word is. So they are, they're out here protesting. So as you see in this clip right here, Addison is being, berated by some of the protesters. And, this season, I don't know, I won't say Addison seems hardened, but you can tell the weight of the world is kind of on Addison. She feels strongly about women's health and women's reproductive rights. So she, with this whole Roe versus Wade type situation that's going on, she has taken it upon herself to try to do what she can to make a difference. But you can also see how it's weighing down on her as well. So it's a lot because Addison, when season 1, season 2, season 3, even Addison was a girly girl. She had her makeup and stuff on, and as you can see right here, Addison is very not as much makeup. She just really seems like a lot is going on, and it's weighing down on her. So, like I said, the pro-life protesters are swarming this clinic. So that's what's going on at this point. So Amelia, who is, Amelia Shepherd, who we all know and love, this is her nephew Luke. So he's been staying, at Meredith's house, helping out with the kids and stuff, because this is Amelia's nephew. So she wants to take care of him. However, he doesn't want he doesn't want his intern class to know that, he is related to Amelia Shepherd, because the last name Shepherd comes with a lot of scrutiny. It comes with a lot of weight. It's just a lot on him to, try to bear that name. And he's been, I guess, sort of the black sheep of the family. So has Amelia. So that's, I don't know if he realizes that Amelia has also been considered like the black sheep of the family, but Amelia is leaning on him to help out, when she needs him to help out, but he doesn't want to be seen helping, because it's going to make him, look like, he's getting preferential treatment or something like that. So he has to take poor little Scout to the to the daycare, and so he is trying to get there, but also remain inconspicuous. So at this point, Tom is meeting with Catherine. Catherine is with Avery, Jackson Avery, one of my faves. She's in Boston with him, and because he runs the foundation now, and she's there with him. But Tom is also meeting Catherine there because they have some things to discuss. What do they have to discuss? We don't know yet. But I think back in the day, Tom and Catherine had a little situationship, but I don't think Catherine has eyes for Tom like that. But he, has come to meet with Catherine and Jackson, like, what y'all got going on? Of course, Catherine plays coy, and she says it, does not really say, that's her business basically. And he's like, well, the foundation is his business too. So she was like, not this. So when she said that, I automatically harkened back to when Catherine first started developing symptoms of her cancer. And if y'all remember, she didn't want her family to know. She wanted kind of Tom and Meredith to take a look at it first to see what she was dealing with. So now Tom is meeting with her, and she's being hush hush again. So in my assumption, I knew it had to be something with her health. So Meredith, so as they, Tom and Catherine walk off, Meredith meets Jackson. Jackson's there, so some of the OGs get back together. I love to see it. And so Meredith greets Jackson, and she's just like, I need someone to vent to, because Meredith is tired. When you have something going on with your kids. And Zola has always been, not problematic. She's kind of gone with the flow and did what she was supposed to. So now Zola is having these issues. It's weighing down on Meredith. Plus, Meredith is the chief of Grace Lawn Memorial. So it's a lot going on with Meredith at this time, and she really doesn't have any of her counterparts there to really help her. Bailey is in and out, so she doesn't really have Bailey to lean on. And so it's a lot weighing down on Meredith. And if you have a child, or if anybody ever, I'll just let you know, when you are a parent and your child is going through something, it seems like, because you want to make it better. And when you can't make it better, it's a stressful experience. So she needs to vent to Jackson. She just wants to vent to one of her friends, and Jackson's in Boston. She's like, this is the best time to do it. So, meanwhile, we're back at Luke taking Scout to daycare. So while he's on his way up the elevator with Scout, the door opens, and there is Quan, the intern, and he's looking like, so you got Dr. Shepherd's son. I know what's going on. So they already made these assumptions that Luke and Amelia got something going on, and that he's, getting neuro surgeries because he's messing with Amelia, which is kind of disgusting because that's his aunt. So Addison and Bailey have to go get a patient who has ectopic pregnancy. So this is Bailey's roommate, old roommate, and she's sounding like something came up where a woman has an ectopic pregnancy, which means that the baby is developing outside of the uterus, and it could be a fatal type of situation for a woman. So because the baby has latched on, the fetus has latched onto her old cesarean scar, and it has a heartbeat where she was, I believe, in Utah, somewhere, wherever she was, I believe it was Utah. She, because the baby had a viable heartbeat, he didn't want to go in and do any type of a DNC. That means they go in and kind of scrape around and get the baby out. It's kind of like the A word, but he didn't want to deal with it because of the laws, and that because the baby still had the heartbeat, he didn't want to risk losing his medical license. So it forced this the patient whose name is Susan, it forced her to have to call this women's clinic to get help. So fortunately, Addison and Bailey are there, so they have to go and get her in Utah and bring her back to the clinic in Washington so they can help her. So as Meredith is venting to Jackson, he's telling her about how Zola has been having panic attacks, anxiety. So he's, Jackson is listening. He was like, "Are you taking her to therapy?" She said, "They're going to therapy. They're looking for different schools for Zola." And she's just really stressed out. And she, basically Zola is being stressed out because she knows that Ellis Gray, her grandmother, passed away because of early onset Alzheimer's. And she also knows, because she's so smart, she knows that her mom and her aunt could have the trait because those are her biological daughters. So she's, nervous that, what if my mom goes into early onset Alzheimer's, and where does that leave me? I'm going to be alone. She doesn't have her dad at this point. So all she has is her aunt and her mom and Amelia, but that's it. So that she's stressed out. So Jackson was like, well, what, she says Meredith has told Jackson that she's been up all night trying to figure out, like, should I just, if I just found a cure for Alzheimer's, this would just help Zola. And so Jackson, that was like ding ding ding. He was like, well, why don't you find a cure? And she was like, yeah, right. I can't find no cure for Alzheimer's, And she was like, that's a, I've been there, done that type thing. And he was like, but what if you do? And as soon as he hears that Meredith is on that track, he's like, yeah, I definitely want you to be a part of this whole, and they got something going on where he had where they were already going to start doing some work with Alzheimer's. He was like, you're the perfect person to do it. And so, Meredith is kind of like, I can't make no decisions because she, right now her priority is Zola. And so Bailey and Addison, they pick up they arrive, they pick up Susan, the patient who has the ectopic pregnancy. And she has been waiting outside because, her car won't start it either. So they pick her up and take her, try to take her back across state lines for assistance. So we go to Tom and Catherine. They go over, Tom brings Catherine and goes over her scans, and her tumor has grown by 2 millimeters, which takes her out of remission. And so, like I said before, I knew it had to be about her health because, when she gets hush hush like that, it's usually about her health. And so, Tom is trying to convince her to, you need to go back and start doing some treatment so we can get this under control. But Catherine is like, no, I'm not doing that because those treatments make her sick. She said that, she, in her traveling, when her and Weber traveled over I think they traveled for maybe about 6 months, but they visited all type of different type of healers where it was shamans, Reiki masters, all type of people who were able to deal with energy. And Tom is like, yeah, that's all well and good. However, we need to go ahead and attack this, be aggressive in our attack. But, Catherine's not trying to hear it. And y'all know Catherine is very stubborn. She is not going to do anything she doesn't want to do. And she just doesn't like the way the treatment makes her feel. Now, quick little story time. Yeah, I can attest to, I've had Reiki done to me to help with some of my anxiety after my husband passed. And it's definitely helps with anxiety. I won't say it totally goes away, but it helps ease some of the symptoms. Also, energy healing and things of that nature. I went through traditional therapy for grief, and it really didn't help. But when I did energy, therapy and, dealing with chakras and all that kind of stuff, that's what really helped me, so to speak. Now, I didn't have cancer, but I did have anxiety, and I was dealing with a lot of grief from losing my husband. So I can see why Catherine, said that she wants to explore other options, because there are other options out there. However, sometimes we do have to deal with traditional medicine, as far as, you know, cancer treatments and stuff. You do have to deal with that, to help you. And I hope that Catherine doesn't just shut Tom completely down and ends up getting worse, because sometimes, when you do regular medicine with, the holistic type medicine, it works better. So I hope that she just doesn't just totally negate it. But I know when you are doing treatment and you don't feel, and it doesn't make you feel good, that's a lot of stress, and that, it's a lot of wear and tear on the body. So I understand. Comment down below, what would y'all do? Do you think Catherine is making the wrong decision? Should she just, go and do what Tom tells her to do? Or should she just continue her holistic approach and do energy and Reiki and stuff like that? So Luke arrives to the daycare because he has gotten a page at this point saying 911. He needs to see Scout in the daycare. So he goes up there and wants to know, he's like, what happened to Scout? So the daycare worker is basically saying Scout has had an accident, as far as he, wet himself, and he doesn't have any change of clothes. So that brought me back to when I was like, when my son was younger, and making sure they had a change of clothes. So yes, I know the feeling. So both of his parents are in surgery. So they're, since he, Luke brought Scout to daycare, he was the next one on the list to call. So she tells him, if he since he doesn't have any change of clothes, a lot of parents go to the gift shop and find something for them downstairs. So that makes him have to go to the gift shop to go, buy some clothes for Scout. And of course, he's been reluctant to do anything for Amelia and, anything like that, because again, he doesn't want to be found out that he's a shepherd. So we're back at the van with Bailey, Addison, and Susan, the patient. So Susan, as they're talking, and she's talking about her daughter, and, her daughter, birthday wish was for her to be, have her sister. So at this point, they're talking, trying to get back to the clinic to help her with the ectopic pregnancy. And next thing you know, this lady starts bleeding out. So more than likely, this ectopic pregnancy, it ruptured. The baby, the fetus has ruptured at this point. So she's bleeding out. So this is very much so fatal. So it's immediately after that, they knew that Addison, looks for something to do to kind of alleviate some of the bleeding, so they can get back to the women's health clinic, so she can really do ultrasounds and find out what's going on, and possibly do a DNC to help her before it gets any worse. So Back at Tom and Catherine, Tom is trying to convince Catherine to go on a trial. She's not trying to hear it. Jackson is also, they show Jackson trying to convince Meredith to move to Boston to hit the research curing Alzheimer's for, because she's already done a lot of the work with the Parkinson, which she did last year. So she's already done a lot of the work and she already is familiar with a lot of the studies out there. So he's just wanting her to go ahead and take the reins and do it. But again, Meredith is like, I'm here for Zola. And if she doesn't like the school, then, we're not going to be here. So she's just like kind of, pushing Jackson off at this point. So we're back at the van. The ectopic pregnancy has now ruptured and Addison puts in a pump to help slow the bleeding, but they end up in a traffic jam. So they are racing against the clock at this point because, she can slow it. She can't stop it, but because she doesn't have the tools, but she can kind of slow it. But now they're in a traffic jam and they can't get back to the women's health place. So Bailey is calling 911, telling them that they have an emergency and, situation with a woman who has, has her pregnancy has now ruptured. And so, but they're in a traffic jam. It's going to be hard to get to them where they are. So Luke is found in the gift shop getting some underwear and, little pants for Scout because, and then as he's in there buying stuff, guess what? The other interns walk in and they see him buying stuff, little baby stuff. So now they are even more and more convinced at this point that he is messing with Amelia. Now, why he just don't say nothing and just tell them, I don't know, but I get it, he's at a catch-22 really, because if he says that that's his aunt, they're gonna be looking at him and thinking he's getting preferential treatment. If he's messing with her, they're gonna think that he's getting preferential treatment. So he's at a catch-22. So either way, they're gonna look at him. So he might as well just tell him what it is. So it won't, because it's worse for Amelia if she gets found out, or is the rumor out saying that she's messing with the intern. So you might as well go ahead and just say what it is. So as Jackson is still trying, we already talked about that. He's trying to convince Meredith. But Susan in the van, the patient, she's taking a turn for the worse. Now she's basically, lost they can't find a pulse for her at this point. So Bailey has to get off on the side of the road so they can do CPR to help her. And she ends up coding and she started bleeding into her abdomen. And so she ends up not being able to make it because they don't have the tools. And so this is hard for Addison. Addison doesn't want to stop the CPR, but Bailey tells her nothing else is going to help. She's basically gone. So, Bailey called the time of death for her. And, they just are, Addison is just really exasperated at this point because she's just like, if the doctor, the OBGYN in Utah would have just handled this, she would have still had her life. And so Addison is just frustrated at this point. She is frustrated. And, Bailey is basically holding space for her because she understands. Tom is still trying to convince Catherine to tell her family, but she refuses. So we go to Quan, the intern Quan. He sees Amelia, and I guess he's making assumptions that, I know about you and Luke. And he's alluding to them sleeping together, but Amelia thinks that he's talking about that being her nephew. So she's like, oh, So they're both missing each other, and to the point where Luke comes in, swoops in, takes Amelia to the side and tells her, basically, they think we sleeping together. That's what it is. They don't know about me being your nephew at this point. So Zola is making friends at Brookline STEAM Academy. They're doing like a cool little physics trick, and she seems to be enjoying herself. And Meredith, is seeing that Zola is really enjoying herself, at this academy. So, she's asking Zola, how she enjoyed it. And then Zola is trying to play coy, like it's not all that. Excuse me. I think Zola just didn't want to seem like she was overly excited because, she is also, she's thinking ahead like, okay, but if I like it here, then my mom will have to uproot and move. So she's trying to kind of play it down, even though she is enjoying Brookline Academy so far. So we're back at Addison. Addison is still on side of road. She is upset, but she's more upset with the lawmakers that they can make decisions about women's reproductive organs. And they're not even doctors, so they don't even know all of the things that could happen, that could go wrong, things of that nature. So she's just really mad. She's venting, and Bailey is just, telling her, like, I too had, she had a miscarriage. And because all of the, everything didn't dispose properly naturally, because when you have a miscarriage, it disposes naturally. She said she had to end up having a D&C, which is along the lines of an A word. And it's the same procedure, it's just something different. So she's like, if that had been the law at that time, she wouldn't have been able to get that, and that would have proved fatal, left her open for infections and stuff. So she's definitely talking to Addison about it, and saying even though she doesn't want one for herself, a word for herself, she wouldn't have did it for herself. She does understand the need for it. Um, So Bailey says she wants to train more doctors in women healthcare to be able to do procedures because, because it's a law, then that means a lot of those procedures are not going to be taught. So she wants to still continue to train physicians on those procedures because they still have to get done at some point. So Luke is upset at Amelia at this point for putting him in a position and that the interns think that they're dating. He's like, you got me around here helping you with your baby, staying with you, doing stuff. You're hovering around all the time. And she's just like, but still you need to tell them what it is at this point. And he's like, he doesn't want to. And he's saying that she just doesn't understand about him being the black sheep and the weight that comes with the last name Shepherd, and she's just like, yeah, I hear all that, but you need to straighten that out because you're gonna cause problems for me at this job, thinking I'm messing with an intern and you're my nephew. So she gives him 3 days to get it straightened out, or she's going to make it known as to what it is. So as they're, as Bailey and Addison are, on their way back to Grace Sloan, Bailey has the idea, like, if they would have had the necessary equipment while they were in the van with Susan, that maybe they could have saved Susan. So Bailey has the idea of using Ben's OR that he van that he had for the fire when he started at the fire station. He got a van where they could do procedures, but it didn't get funded. And so I believe Grace Sloan ended up buying the van, but it's just been sitting. So she was like, well, now if we have to go across state lines and help with women's health and do procedures, now we have something to use for that. So right when Addison sees it, her eyes light up. So she sees the possibilities that this van is going to be able to have and to be able to help women who can't get to the clinic or, has to get, bused, from those states that are banning it. So Bailey is telling her to do the south of Illinois because it's right there around all of those states that have banned those type of procedures. So yeah, so Addison is seeing a lot of possibilities, and I think it's a great idea. So Meredith and Zola, they end up talking. I'm sorry, here's a little clip of Tom, and he's still trying to convince her, and she ain't trying to hear it. And Jackson walks in on Tom and Catherine talking about it. And of course, Catherine is just like, it ain't nothing. Let's just go see Harriet. And I think she has a little ballet recital. So she just kind of like blew Jackson off. I'm pretty sure Jackson is, understanding like it's something ain't right. So I'm pretty sure that's gonna start sending up red flags to Jackson. But he's just gonna go along with Catherine at this point. And here is Zola and Meredith. They're talking, and she's asking her about Brookline Academy, and and Zola is like, "Yeah, I really do like it. I really do like it. But what are you gonna do? You're the chief. You're the chief of surgery. You got things to do in Seattle. You can't just up and just leave." And she was like, "Let me worry about that. I'm the mother. Let me worry about that, and we will figure it out." So Zola is happy because she definitely saw herself at Brookline Academy. She likes it. She also asked Meredith, like, what if I don't want to be a doctor? And she was like, that's your choice. Whatever you're gonna be good at. So she likes the robotics and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see where Zola goes with that. Maybe she won't be a doctor. Because my theory was like the way Grace would end would be Zola in a OR, in the OR and Meredith looking down at her in the OR or something. But maybe it won't be. Maybe Zola be something else. Who knows? But I'm glad that Meredith is, has the means to make sure Zola, is taken care of, and that she, can get the help that she needs, and that she could go to the schools that she wants to go to that, be adequate for her. So I love that. I wish more people were able to do stuff like that. And she also tells Zola if she's working on a cure for Alzheimer's, she's going to work with Jackson to work on a cure for Alzheimer's. And you could just see the relief in Zola's face, like, that she's working towards that so she could stay here and be with her. So Meredith ends up texting Jackson, like, I'll be in Boston. So now we know where Meredith is going to be for the probably duration of the season. She's going to be in Boston. So we're not going to see a lot of her. But the previews did show that there is some type of tragedy that's going to happen for the fall finale. Oh Lord, I'm not gonna be able to take it now. I don't think it's gonna be Meredith, y'all. I really don't think it's gonna be Meredith that's gonna have this situation. I think it could be someone else, but I don't think it's Meredith. I don't know who it's gonna be, but I don't think it's Meredith. I think she's gonna be able to take Zola to Boston and move her family to Boston. But child, with Grays, you just never know. They will off somebody in a minute on Grays. So I know it's not Meredith that's gonna pass or anything like that, but I do think something's going to happen, and hopefully it doesn't, keep Zola from, being in at that academy that she likes. And I really do want Meredith to work on Alzheimer's. It's kind of like her birthright. It's something that she worked on with Derek and, end up stopping it because she, messed up the whole process. But I don't know. What do y'all think is going to happen in this fall finale? I'm nervous. I hope it's nothing to do with Meredith at all. So that's all I got, y'all. That's the episode. I would probably rate it by around 7.5. It wasn't like a big episode. I feel like it's a slow burner into the finale. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen on this finale, and I'm just hoping that it has nothing to do with Meredith at this point. But we're gonna see. So comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified about all of my uploads. And also, sharing is caring. Share with your friend. I will see you in the next video. I got some more videos coming out. I got to do my Love is Blind. Also, Married at First Sight reunion. That was a whole hot mess. So yeah, I got some things that I got to get done. And I'm going to make sure you have all the content that you need. Talk to you soon. See you when I see you. Peace.